With Nottingham Forest dominating all the footballing headlines this week, there are some questions that need to be asked. Are Forest right to be upset over what happened in Everton? And has this trend been happening to them all season? Welcome to your latest Forest news. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news / video. In today's video, we're going to take you through all the decisions that have turned the backs up, not just of the fans, but of Nottingham Forest. And there are so many. And do Forest have a right and a reason to have reacted in the way that they do? And this story is rumbling on. We've seen this idiot Twatwell being rewarded for what he did at the weekend by being allocated as the VAR ref representing us in the Euros this summer. Talk about corruption, allegedly, in its finest form. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And let's take it back to simpler, better days where Forest were champions of Europe. And we had one of our men there, O'Neill, signed framed shirt. And this is the classic. This is the European Cup winning shirt. And there's so many Insta prizes to go with it as well. Football prizes, really pulling one out the bag here. If you hit ticket number 25, you get a Trevor Francis signed photo. Rip to Trevor Francis. If you hit 75, Nigel Clough signed photo. If you hit 135, you get Bertels and Viv Anderson signed photo. And if you hit 175, you're going to get Robbo signed photo. So many prizes. How do you guys feel about O'Neill these days? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of all he says on TalkSport? Anyway, let's get into this video, guys. There's a lot to talk about. And one thing to mention, thank you so much to everyone who's donating to the new PC. You don't understand how many issues I've been having today with it, hence why the video is out so late. We're at 23%. We're nearly there. 469 you guys have already raised. I can't thank you guys enough. And Rob specced it up for me. We're ready to go as soon as we hit that magic number. So if you do have a spare quid or two, I'll leave the link for you guys in the description and in the comments as well. Okay, let's get into this because we've got a lot to talk about. Now, we have done a video like this back a couple of months ago, but that was an objective video where we showed the instances where Forest had been screwed and the instances where it had gone for Forest. I think it was something like 9-1, 9-2, something like that. And it had cost Forest basically something like 12 points. Now, there have been so many more that have come up since then. And there are so many that we missed out from that video. So this is going to be a quick, comprehensive overlook of the scenes. And we're going to start way back when. And by the way, I'm not saying I agree with every single one of these, but what I'm saying is these are all the controversial decisions that have happened this season. So let's take it back way when to near the beginning of the season. And shock horror, the first major incident that happens, of course, is going to be at Manchester United's ground. And of course, it's going to involve our good friend Stuart Twatwell. Congratulations again on going to the Euros, mate. And the first one was the red card on Joe Worrell. And what we're going to do as well, we're just going to show you some screenshots because if we show the videos, then YouTube... But yeah, this one for me, look, it looks to me very clearly like Bolly is covering and the ball is going to roll into Turner's hands. Now, you could argue it's Turner in goal, so he'll probably go through his hands, through his legs and into the back of the net. But putting that aside, this was controversial decision number one. How do you lot feel about this one? Let's move it forward, but we're going to stay in the same game because you are at Manchester United. So, of course, there's going to be more than one controversial decision. And this was Danilo with his quote-unquote foul on Rashford. And if you just have a look at the way Rashford dives, it's pathetic. There's no contact or minimal contact whatsoever. In fact, if you take it here, Martin Keown said it's a blatant dive from Rashford. We're going to have a lot of quotes on this. So we're not just putting this from a Forest perspective. These are people, what does Keown care about Forest? And just look at the way he's swan diving there. It's embarrassing Trashford. No wonder you've been so crap this season. So that was at Manchester United. Let's move it forward now to November. And this is, I think this one's a debatable one. It was a penalty that was given to Brighton for a foul on Chris Wood committing the foul. And if you have a look at the scene itself, yes, Chris Wood had his arms on the Brighton player, but the ball was nowhere near him and going straight through to Vlachodimos, I think it was, at the time. And this was very debatable. And Brighton were given a penalty off the back of it. And if you just look at it here, this gives you the better angle and the depth perception of how far away the Brighton player was from actually getting the ball. Now, should that come into the equation? I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. And then, of course, we start to move into this one, which was in Everton in December. And I've seen a lot of Everton fans this week shouting about their penalty claim in this match and ignoring this one where Ryan Yates was fouled in the box and no penalty was given. I think at the time, if I'm not mistaken, Forest were 1-0 down, so this would have been to level. And how important would that have been to take 2 points off of Everton, because they ended up winning the match. And as you can see here from the far side, you can see clearly that Decore is grabbing onto Ryan Yates' shirt, and that continues throughout the sequence until Ryan Yates is floored. Now that for me should have been given as a penalty. Don't know what you guys think. Let's keep rolling because there's just so many. And even Alan Shearer, and I've brought his quote on this because it's hilarious. He's come out saying what he said about Forest this week. Yet, in this incident, Alan Shearer says he was stunned by mad Everton footage versus Nottingham Forest. How is that not? You can't be giving a penalty 1 week for pulling and not for the next. Clearly, he's pulled the shirt there. That's a penalty for me. So, yes, this incident may be subjective, but Alan Shearer, who's been mocking Forest this week, remember you saying that? We've got you on record, mate. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. This is Jamie Redknapp from Sky on the same incident saying it was a blatant foul on Ryan Yates. It is behind me, but trust me, that's what his quote was as well. So many of the pundits agreeing that that should have been a penalty for Forest. Now, this is the infamous one. This is the one for me that's beyond stupidity, was the Bolly second yellow card against Bournemouth. Bolly gets to the ball first. If you look at this picture here, I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know what to say on this one. This is beyond comprehensible. This is an absolute joke. He gets the ball and then is stamped on by the Bournemouth player. And we've had all kinds of quotes on this one. Willy Bolly sending off was the worst decision of the season, and it was nonsense that VAR couldn't intervene for the Forest defender's second yellow, claims Ian Ladyman on its all kicking off. And if you got a name like Ladyman, you better listen to what he's saying, because he's gonna know how to talk about football. And then you had it on Ref Watch with Mike Dean saying Willy Bolly's red card was an error. It's ridiculous. Need I say it anymore? Need I say it anymore? Let's keep going, because the fun never stops. Still within that game. A lot of people have forgotten about this one, but Harry Tuffalo's cross that hits the Bournemouth defender in the arm. And what do we see? Nothing given. Look at this screenshot. Both his feet are clearly on the other side of the line. So is his hand. The ball strikes his hand. And nothing is given. Forest don't even get a free kick for it because VAR deemed it was inconclusive whether or not they could tell if it was inside the box or outside the box. Utter joke. Another one from this game was the foul from Semenyo on Yates. Semenyo was already on a yellow card and hit a foul, tackled Yates, missed the ball. And basically, potentially, you can see the contact there, foot on foot as Yates kicks it away. Semenyo blocks his foot and Yates is fouled. This wasn't given. Could it have been? Maybe this one's a little bit weaker than the rest, but it's another incident. In that game alone, we are talking about 3 incidents, all going against Nottingham Forest. Let's keep going, and an infamous foam gate from Ivan Toney. And the other thing to mention about this one was this match was initially scheduled to happen before Ivan Toney's ban finished. Yet because the Premier League and Sky wanted the money that they wanted, this was moved forward and Ivan Toney was able to play. And of course, we all know what he did there. Absolute joke. Okay, so following that one, another controversial one is about to hit the scene, and that was Taiwo against Newcastle. This was back in February, where Taiwo was blatantly fouled by the Newcastle goalkeeper, who raises his arm. This was checked by VAR, and shock horror, nothing was given to Forest. Look at that contact, arm on foot, absolute joke. And we've got a few quotes for you on this one. BBC pundit Stephen Kelly's verdict: it did look like a penalty, and although the match officials did not think so, former Tottenham defender and BBC Sports pundit Kelly was clear about it. Kelly said on 5 Live Sports Extra, "For me, it looks like Dubravka takes Taiwo only out is a penalty. Dubravka's second arm catches Taiwo's leg. There's a lift in the arm from Dubravka to stop Taiwo getting past him and to the ball. He doesn't need to do it. It's needlessly created contact. Newcastle have gotten away with one there." And that still image for me says it all. How the hell is that not given? VAR review on ESPN says penalty for Jota but not for Taiwo. That was the incident where Jota had a similar instance. I think it was against Newcastle, if I remember correctly. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But they're saying as well, where are the standards? And then Shearer, yet again, Shearer, who's a Newcastle fan, says Newcastle United got away with one over the decision not to award Forest a penalty when Taiwo appeared to have been fouled in the box. Yet Shearer's been saying what he's saying. Idiot. Anyway, let's keep rolling on. There are plenty more instances still to discuss, and this was a penalty against West Ham, and I use the words wisely. It was a penalty. Nico Williams going through and then gets trodden on. Look at that. Look at that, trodden on. Max Rushton says, cannot believe West Ham controversy versus Forest. And he says, I don't understand. I understand that they want to stick to referees on field decisions, but it just obviously is a foul. He has trodden on his foot while running really fast. He's going to notice that, and it's a foul. I don't quite understand. And I believe Rushton's a Cambridge fan, so he's got no connection to Nottingham Forest. And look at it, he's completely stepped on him while Nico Williams is in full flight. Yes, Forest won the match, but goal difference could be key come the end of the season, and Forest could have ended up 2 or 3-0 up instead of, the final score, which was 2-0 incidentally. I believe at the time of this, Forest were 1-0 up. Game could have swung. Anything could have happened. Let's keep going. And of course, the next one is tyranny at Liverpool. Now, what people are forgetting is there was a penalty claim just before that, where Omar Bamadeli looked like he had been fouled in the box before Konate started to cheat and hold his head. And then, of course, we all know what happened with Paul Tierney, who gave the ball back to the Liverpool player, and there you go, there's the penalty holding there. To me, that looks like a penalty. And if we run this forward, you can see here that Hudson-Odoi had touched the ball before the ref had blown his whistle. Therefore, the drop ball should have come back to Nottingham Forest. He gave it to the Liverpool keeper, and then about 90 to 120 seconds later, Liverpool have scored from it. Corruption, absolute corruption. And Mike Dean himself came out and said this was a mistake from Paul Tierney, a straight up mistake. How many mistakes can we tolerate in a season? How is it okay to just say it was a mistake, let's move on, everything's okay, brush it under the carpet? And then we come to the Brighton game. This is one of the worst tackles I've seen this season. Nico Williams was lucky to walk away with this with his legs still intact. Just look at it from this angle. That's an absolute leg breaker, and this was reviewed and checked by VAR. Yet nothing at all was given to Forest. In fact, the Brighton player was booked and they remained with that on-field decision. It's just, you have no words anymore. On Ref Watch, they said Brighton midfielder Jacob Modders it was a dangerous tackle. It was a blatant red card. Add it to the list. Just add it to that list. let's keep going. And we all know where we're ending up, and that's with these Everton penalties that have stolen all the headlines this week. First incident right here is the one on Gio Reyna from Ashley Birdshit eating Young. You can see clearly there, Reyna gets the ball, Ashley Young tackles through the back of his leg, no contact on the ball, absolutely nothing given. Ashley Young again against Callum Hudson-Odoi in the second incident. Clear hand ball. If that is a natural position for an arm, my God, people walk around funny. Just have a look at it from all the angles. His arm is up. In fact, if you watch the video properly, he makes a movement and a gesture towards the ball. How is that not given as a penalty? And we see on the same day a very similar incident in the FA Cup semi-final between Man United and Coventry, where Wan-Bissaka handles the ball in a roughly similar situation, and that gets given. So where are the standards? Where are the standards? And then, of course, this one. This one is the most stonewall penalty or non-penalty that we've seen not given this season. Ashley Young yet again on Callum Hudson-Odoi, and this picture says 1,000 words for me. Goes through the back of his foot, no contact on the ball, nothing given. In fact, the ref indicates that he thinks Ashley Young got the ball. Now, the controversy here right now is that the talk is that the Sky commentators said VAR have cleared it, and reports are now coming out to say that VAR didn't even check it. Which one is it? Sky are claiming there was a check. VAR are now claiming there was no check given. Release the goddamn audio, and let's see how far this corruption really does go with the PGMOL. And in fact, Jagielka, who bleeds blue, played for Everton for so long, in Match of the Day that evening, said himself that VAR shouldn't have even sent him to the monitor. They literally should have told him, you thought you got the ball. He got the ball and he didn't. It's a penalty. No need for a monitor, a straight overturn. Did they do that? Of course not. This is just getting ridiculous now. And for people that are not Forest fans, surely you can see just from all those examples, if you don't agree with every one of them, there will be ones in there you agree with, and none of them have gone in Forest's favour. There are honourable mentions we could add to that. Maddison punching Ryan Yates, for example, a couple of weeks ago at Spurs, not getting sent off. Loads of little incidents like this are happening. And for the skeptical ones amongst you, well, what about the ones that have gone in Forest's favour? Well, like I said, we did do a video on that. I'll leave that on the end screen for you guys if you want to check it out. And that will tell you how many points Forest have missed out on, subjectively speaking, and how many points they would have gained because of the decisions that went for them. But I think Forest clearly have a reason to be as upset as they are this week. And they've been holding it in, you can tell. And then that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Or the three straws, should I say, that broke the camel's back. What are your thoughts on all those incidents? If you're a Forest fan, had you forgotten about some of those? There was some in there when we were going through it all that I'd completely forgotten about as well. And is there anything we've missed off that needs to be mentioned? Get it in the comments down below. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And we'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.